Now that you're in the Order of the Arrow, you still have a responsibility. Let's talk about it. Hey, ScouterStan. Let's talk a little bit about your obligation, the thing that you are required to do as an arrowman. Now that you've gone through your ordeal or brotherhood or any of that stuff, you still have an obligation. And that obligation is to your troop or crew, not the OA. That's the wild thing here. You are to be the example. That's what we want you to do. We don't want you to be the exception. We want you to be the example. And this is true for adults and for the youth. They all need to do for their unit. They need to work with their unit. They need to be with their unit. That is an important part of scouting. Now in that, a lot of units kind of just plow along. They don't really look at the schedule for the Order of the Arrow. They just plow along through. It's their normal schedule. We need to change that a little bit so that it gives an opportunity for the older scouts and adults to attend some of the OA events. Now, most lodges throughout the United States will have 4 big events, one each season, that they are trying to put together. Now, up north it gets really cold, and in the south it gets really hot. So, in the United States they kind of move the schedule around. But there are some consistent things. And in fact, let me put a video. I'm going to put it up there. Don't go there now. But later on, at the end, you can go there, and it talks about that, okay? And that's important. We need to keep the schedule so that our scouts can not only be involved in the unit, but also take a break and go to some of the OA events. Now, there are some arrow persons. I almost said arrowmen. That was the old lingo. We now say arrow persons. That's one of those things that changes over time because we have girls, youth. We've had girls, ladies actually, in the Order of the Arrow for some time. So they give service to the troop and to their crew. That's totally great. They need to be involved in that, but they also have to have that scheduling opportunity so they can take a break and go to some OA events too. Now, there are some scouts out there that have taken on additional requirements, okay? They do even more meetings than you might imagine. And I'm talking about den chiefs. Den chiefs, they have a lot on their plate, okay? They not only got the Order of the Arrow and their troop or crew, they also have a Cub Scout pack and a den, okay? So they got a lot on their plate. They got a lot to get done. And one of the things that I've discovered is that a lot of den chiefs, that once they get into the Order of the Arrow, they want to talk to their Cub Scouts about how much fun they're having and all the neat things going on. Now, that's, of course, you got to keep your obligation, okay? You don't want to spoil it for anyone. But that's one of those things that a lot of youth will kind of promote the Order of the Arrow. And that's wonderful, because once that Cub Scout crosses over to a troop, or they end up in a crew, that's something that they might want to do. So, and they would recall, hey, my den chief told me about how much fun he was having or she was having in that Order of the Arrow. I want to do it too. So that's one of those things. You don't have to keep it secret, okay? That's one of those big things. You can talk to them in general terms. You don't have to explain everything in the ceremony, okay? That's way beyond. That's beyond what they need for that moment. You just need to tell them maybe the spirit of it, what you got from it. That's one of those things. And what's funny is a lot of parents want to know about the Order of the Arrow too. So as a youth, that might be a little much, but as an adult leader, you can give them more information. Now, of course, there are no secrets associations in scouting, and especially with parents. If a parent wants to know, You could literally bring them the script of that ceremony. You could bring them to the ceremony. There's nothing, there's no hidden anything. What we're trying to do is give it a mystery, make it more more meaningful by not just blurting out everything, okay? That's one of those things. We want to keep that mystery, that magic that's developed from the ceremonies and all that kind of stuff. We want to keep that. So for a parent that's concerned or curious, totally fine to talk to them completely. Again, I'm going to put a video up there. I'm going to have to research, but I'll put it up there and talk about that. That's something we have discussed. Now, the OA has a lot of seasoned scouts. They've been in for a while. They're at least first class. So that's one of those things. This is very appealing. They can get distracted by it, but their main obligation is to the unit. The Order of the Arrow might try to get them to run for different positions, whether it be in the chapter or even the lodge. So this is something that's possible, but we really don't recommend that they have forsaken the unit for the Order of the Arrow. This is something they can do in addition. So that's a big thing. As adults, we need to mentor. We need to guide and enable them to do different things within the unit. And if they've done all that and they're experienced, that would be awesome, because then they could use that skill level in the Order of the Arrow. So that's something to think about. Now, the same thing's true with adult leaders. Adult leaders that are assistant scoutmasters or with a crew, scout facing or even behind the scenes, they could actually be very helpful to the lodge, to the chapter. These are things that they can do. These are wonderful opportunities to give service on a bigger level than just the unit, but the unit is the primary. That's the thing they need to be focused on. But if there's room, you can include the other. And it's a little bigger. So, and that's why we always say, think of the unit first, then think of the Order of the Arrow. Now, there is a position within the unit of a representative. And this is true for youth and adult. There's an assistant scoutmaster that can be the advisor for the youth that are in the troop, as they're the representative, they're the OA representative, but the advisor within the troop can be an assistant scoutmaster, and they can be working together. Now, a lot of times they also have a meeting that they need to attend, especially the unit representative needs to attend the local chapter meeting. That's super important. They need to do that every single month, because they take that information and then pass that on to the unit. Very important that they go. All Order of the Arrow members should attend this meeting. It will make the information easier to give out at the meeting. So that's something that can be done. Now, what's really wild is that, and this is how adult leaders kind of get somebody to do this, is you have the youth, when they are presenting, when they are representing and conveying that information to the unit, they get to wear the sash. As soon as they're done, they take it off, put it in their pocket. That's how that's done. They are representing, so they should wear the sash. And that gets the attention, especially for the ones who are wanting to join and those who are in. They respect that kind of representation. And from that, you can get the information out there and get them involved. You want to work together. You want the unit to be the primary, and then the Order of the Arrow to be the secondary. And that's the wonderful thing. They kind of work together. And they just have so much fun, laughing and good times. And some of the best friends you'll ever have in your life are in scouting. So that's the wonderful thing. We do a lot of fun things. So with that, let's go right into the Scouter's Joke of the Week. I built a model of Mount Everest, and my son asked me if it was to scale. I told him, no, it's just to look at. Okay. Well, with that, I mean, scouting jokes are kind of fun. So that was more of a riddle, okay? That's one way to think of it. That's one of the beautiful things. There are a lot of them out there, and you can add these in just as a zinger to send people with a smile. That's the wonderful thing about scouting. So you just keep up that good work and keep plowing ahead. And if you're one of the youth that are watching this, thank you. Keep working. You can do this. It's not brain surgery. You might think so, but it's doable. You can do this. And adult leaders, you can do this too. You can help those youth. And I know you do. So, and I'm so thankful. Thank you so much for all that you do in scouting. It's amazing. Okay? You're doing amazing work. We're changing America. We need this. We need this. Okay? So, until next time, I will see you on the trail.